Gotta tell you, used to be Elvis, the Beatles, and the Rolling Stones. Now it's Megadeth, Motley Crue, Twisted Sister. Hey, Mom, is it only rock and roll? Or are kids on a downgrade spiral of drugs, sex, and possibly death? Heavy metal music on the Morton Downey Jr. Show. Good evening, you metalheads at home, all right? Joining us at home base, Howard Bloom, Group Music in Action. Jennifer Norwood, Parents Music Resource Center. No one at the Loudmouth, yes, but we're going to get there, all right? Jennifer, I'd like to read the paragraph of PMRC from your card beginning... non-profit. Where is that? Let's see that right here. PMRC is a non-profit organization founded in 1985 to address the issues of lyrics in popular music which glorify graphic sex and violence and glamorize the use of drugs and alcohol. That's your organization's statement, right? Right. All right, let me start then with you. Does heavy metal music really glamorize graphic sex and drugs and... what else do you have? Sex, violence?
Violence. I think some of it does.
Some of it? How much of it?
That's hard to say. I don't think I would go so far as to venture an opinion on that because it changes. I mean, groups evolve, and one album may reflect some violence and the next album may not. But I think that there's enough of it there that parents need to be aware of it. And I'd like to point out that I don't feel that our group is telling heavy metal groups that they can't sing about certain topics. I think groups should and can sing about anything.
Can they sing about anything they want, or the penis, the vagina, anything they want to sing about?
Right, and they do, and they do.
Wait a second, let's see what's going on.
That is the topic of some songs that are available, not just heavy metal, but in other types of music, rap, some of the soul.
So you have
pop
nothing
rock.
against that?
No, but all that we're saying is if you want to put those type of references in an album, I think you need to be sensitive to parents who may feel they're inappropriate for younger children. Put the type of consumer information on an album that will let people make their own choice without getting in the way of the freedom of expression of an artist.
Aren't you really taking the chance of doing that, let's say, labeling these albums and some freako act, you know, that has absolutely no talent whatsoever, gets on their album XXX rated because of lyrics, etc., and everyone goes to buy the XXX rated album when it's probably worthless.
We avoided that whole rating question, and that's one of the reasons why. What we settled on, and this is a voluntary agreement with the recording industry, is that when albums contain references to graphic violence, sex, or drugs and alcohol, they will put either a generic warning label which reads simply explicit lyrics, parental advisory, or they'll print the lyrics on the outside of the jacket with no warning.
You're also asking, of course, the television industry, the soaps, etc., to do the same thing on their shows, those Santa Barbara and some of those
there are other
sleazebag shows.
There are other groups that lobby in that place. There are other groups that are dealing with those topics, and I think that they have as much influence as what we're talking about in music. The reason we chose to focus on music is because nobody else was.
Tipper Gore, she's the wife of Senator Gore, right? Wait a second. She's the wife of Senator Gore, right?
Right.
Was this maybe started by her so she could get a position in her her husband's presidential campaign, which was upcoming?
Well, the group was actually founded by 4 women. 3 of them are Republicans. Tipper is a Democrat. The common thing that they all have is they're all mothers of young children. Tipper's always been involved in issues like that. Back in 1977, she formed a group of parents discussing violence on children's television, and this is something that she has chose as an issue, and it had nothing to do with her husband's campaign.
Okay, so we know that if she ever gets into the White House, we're not going to have any heavy metal music being played on the 4th of July, right?
Not at all. I want to stress that our group has never lobbied or requested any type of legislation. It's a totally voluntary agreement. We're not the ones who make the decisions about which albums get labeled. It's a decision made between the artist and the record company.
How about it, Howard? You've heard what we've been talking about here with Jennifer. Anything to add to that?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not necessarily about the PMRC. First of all, Jennifer, you always do a wonderful job of presenting the PMRC's position. And you also do a very good job of presenting your own values, and they are some good ones. But unfortunately, there are some real problems out here.
I knew we were getting someplace, Howard. Go ahead.
There are...
Thought maybe I was going to have a wedding up here.
Oh, back...
No chance.
Back in the early 80s, there were people running around the country saying that KISS stood for Knights in Service to Satan.
But it wasn't our group.
No, I'm not saying it is your group. That as a consequence, we should get rid of KISS. There was a fundamentalist minister down south who said that it's unfortunate that we have the Bill of Rights. That if we had been living in the days of Christ, we wouldn't have a Bill of Rights and we would have been free to stone the members of KISS to death. Why? Why should we be stoning them to death? Well, because their name stands for Knights in Service to Satan, right. AC/DC, these very imaginative people said, stood for Antichrist Devil's Children.
But what does that have to do with the PMRC?
We're not talking about the PMRC. You see, there's a cluster of groups.
I thought I was on to talk about the PMRC.
We'll get to the PMRC. Don't worry, we'll give you a chance.
Hey, Howard, How about that full-page ad you took out in Billboard?
Well, we took out a full-page ad in Billboard that said that the PMRC is more trouble than you think.
Yeah. More dangerous than you think.
Yeah, no, more trouble than you think was the actual phrasing. And we were not too pleased with the PMRC. And we're not too pleased with the PMRC because the PMRC has basically been a Trojan horse for a bunch of kooks and maniacs, the kinds of people I'm talking about.
I think it's the opposite. I think if record companies respond by putting consumer information on an album, then that takes away a platform from the fundamentalists who want to say that rock and roll is all inspired by Satan, which is obviously not true.
But unfortunately,
I think if the industry responds in a responsible manner, which they are doing to a degree, then these people don't have a platform.
You're no rock fan. What poisoned you against rock and roll? I mean, you work for a rock magazine.
Nothing poisoned me. I love rock and roll. I still listen to rock and roll exclusively.
You listen to it for the music or for the lyrics?
For both. For both. But I find that I am concerned with a growing trend in some music to degrade women, to show violence against women, to show brutality against women. And I'm concerned because the audience for this type of music is mostly adolescent males. And the type of ideas that they're getting about how to treat women and how to react in certain situations are going to have serious repercussions for us down the road when they're running the country.
You think that's really what's causing some guys to have little regard for women, rock and roll music,
not only,
heavy
but
metal
I think,
music,
yeah,
lyrics?
I think entertainment.
I mean, haven't you seen some of these women walking around the streets today? Isn't that enough to give you?
I think entertainment media today is a powerful socializing tool. And I think adolescents and teenagers are more susceptible to messages in the media than any other age group because they're forming their own impressions and they tend to pull away from parental influence and focus more on peer and media influences. And I think that there needs to be sensitivity on the part of artists who are marketing messages when those messages glorify rape and murder and suicide and violence. I think that that's something parents need to be informed about. I'll guarantee you most parents have no idea about the type of material that is available. And even less that their children may be listening to.
And they're bad parents, aren't they?
Exactly, and we want to enlighten them.
You want to enlighten them? You think you're going to enlighten them when their kid is 14 years old and they haven't taken any interest in the kid up to that point? Yeah. All of a sudden they're going to take...
I don't think that we can throw our hands up in disgust and say, okay, the situation's there and we have nothing to do about it. I think the more people that begin to speak out, we're not telling parents that you need to take those albums and throw them in the trash can. We're saying you need to tune in, you need to get more involved with your children and what's influencing them.
Can I interrupt for a second? Because actually the PMRC is not doing that.
Let me show you some objectionable albums. Can you swing around and look at this monitor over here? All right. run by, this is Cat, I assume. Let's see the next one. Let's see the next one. Oh, what is this? Let's take a look at another one. Take a look at another one. See, we got one more. Okay, more Megadeth. Megadeth. Wasp. Wasp. I hope you didn't have anything to say about the last one or you're out of here.
I don't know.
Look, when we come back, we're going to meet Twisted Sister's J.J. French. Stand by.
February, when we salute three great American leaders, Lincoln, Washington, and Crazy Eddie. Crazy Eddie, his sale prices are insane.
A beautiful oil painting in an exquisite frame. In a gallery, you could pay as much as $1,000 for paintings like these. But this Sunday only, at a spectacular showing by Collector's Art, you can buy oils like you see here for a fraction of those high gallery prices. Plus over 4,000 paintings to be sold out from $14 to $39. This Sunday only, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. In Secaucus at the Meadowlands Hilton. In Tarrytown at the Westchester Marriott. In Hempstead at the Grand Royal Hotel. In Staten Island at the Holiday Inn. In Smithtown, Long Island at the Sheraton. In Piscataway at the Sheraton Regal Inn. In Livingston at the Holiday Inn. And in Stamford, Connecticut at the Marriott.
Presenting the Sweet 16 Breakfast Special from the International House of Pancakes. For pancake lovers only, this limited offer includes your choice of any two of these 16 all-time international hits. Remember banana nut? How about strawberry? And who could forget old-fashioned buttermilk? And if you act right now, we'll include 2 eggs and 2 bacon or sausage, all for one low International House of Pancakes price. But hurry! These platters are sure to be eaten up quickly. 2 eggs, 2 bacon or sausage, and 2 same-style pancakes. Sweet 16 for only $2.16. This offer not available by mail.
If you need help, if you have nowhere to turn, and if you can find them, maybe you can hire
The A-Team.
Spread the word.
There's only one A-Team.
And they're back.
How do you do it?
George Papard.
I'm the planner.
Dirk Benedict.
We're just here to make a little point.
Dwight Schultz. And Mr. T.
Nice quiet life, huh, Face?
The A-Team.
Saturday at 5, right here on Channel 9. Weekday evenings, the place to be is Channel 9.
Great place, you'll love it. It's got everything.
And now we've got heroes and hunks, T.J. Hooker and Magnum.
I can't wait to check it out.
TV's top cop and premier private eye will fill your weekday evenings with excitement. T.J. Hooker at 5 and Magnum at 6 on Channel 9.
This is it, the holiday sale you've all been waiting for.
Siemens first.
Celebrate Siemens' most exciting Washington's birthday sale ever. Get incredible savings in every Siemens department on the beautiful furniture you need. Living room packages, dining sets, bedrooms, bedding, and accessories, all dramatically reduced now through Washington's birthday at all Siemens locations in New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Connecticut.
For the price that's always right, see Siemens first.
We've got Jennifer Norwood remains on home base with us. We're joined by J.J. French, all right? He's the founder of the band Twisted Sister. Now, before we talk to J.J., let's look at something that has never been shown before on broadcast television from Twisted Sister. You can see it on the monitors at home and here in the studio. Go ahead, gang.
Cruelty of school, 'cause you may never get another. Big cruelty of school, in the name of rock and roll. Big cruelty of school, just like a sister or a brother. Big cruelty of school, in the name of rock and roll. Well, I don't think I'll make it through another day. It's 8 o'clock and all is well. My brain hurts so much it's starting to decay, and I'm living in my private hell. Did somebody tell me this would be so great? Be the best thing I've ever had. I I never told him about the word exaggerate. I something so good to get so bad. Cause hey, I gotta know, am I slow? Where do I go from here? To A, and 1, 2, 3. Mean that much to me, that much to me. Be cruel to your school.
Okay. JJ. JJ, you've heard what Jennifer has to say. Cool it a second. Cool it. You've heard what Jennifer has to say about heavy metal. Is it sadistic? Is that Satanism? What is it?
What she says is pure crap, is basically it. Now, 3 things. First of all, let me just take 1 second to thank all of our fans for all these years for supporting Twisted Sister in the tri-state area. Thank you very much. Second of all, you're going to be hearing people screaming about Johnny Lives Dangerously, which is a rock and roll local cable TV show.
Cool it. We want to hear the show.
We brought you this shirt from Johnny Lives Dangerously. Morton, this is for you. All right? Okay. All right. And now let's talk about heavy metal. I've been playing heavy metal for 15 years. I got into it because I love the music, I love the good time. And that was all there was to it. And to insult the intelligence of these people by telling them that they don't have the intelligence to pick the kind of music they want to listen to is an insult to the people of the United States of America, okay?
Let me ask you a question. In all the time you've been in it for 15 years now, and all the time did you see a lot of drugs, a lot of alcohol taking place with the gang?
Let me tell you this. I have toured and done over 3,300 shows in the past 15 years. I have played in 34 countries. I've been on tour with Whitesnake, Rat. Listen, from Motley, Metallica, you can name the band, and we've been on tour around the world over and over and over again. 300 days a year. And I have never, ever in my life seen anything but professional attitudes from these bands, Mort. I haven't seen drug use. They just busted their butt. And the accusations that can be placed here, are so unfounded as to create hysteria, which leads to an unfortunate platform. What that platform leads to is crazy legislation that cities around this country have adopted in order to try to keep rock out. And if it can happen in one city, it can happen in another. It can happen right here in New Jersey. And I'm telling you, you can't let that happen. Don't blame rock and roll, okay?
Wait a second. I don't think I really heard you. I don't think I really heard you blame rock and roll.
I don't think that's what I said, and I've had words put in my mouth by more people than this person. What I'm saying is that parents need to be tuned in. I'm not saying that people don't have the intelligence to choose what they want for themselves. I think they need to be informed to make that decision. When you go into an album store...
In other words, what you were saying is there are some very responsible heavy metal groups, and there are some irresponsible heavy metal groups.
Let me give you a, for instance...
And same as there were responsible people who wrote songs with the word in it and others before rock and roll ever came along. That'll be edited out, right?
Well, you know, I don't want to be the arbiter of good taste. I don't want to be the person to decide what is right for everyone, because that's too much of a generalization. What may be right for me may not be appropriate for the 10-year-old kid down the block. But I'm just saying that parents need to be tuned in,
then the problem
and the way they
who
get
is the
tuned
person
in,
who makes, my concern is, who's the person that then makes that decision? Who is the arbiter? Well, if it is the parent, let me say this to you, okay? Considering that rock and roll has been a scapegoat for the past 30 years and continues to be a scapegoat for every cheap accusation that falls their way, a couple of things occurred to me. Do you know that about 10 years ago, there was a guy called Son of Sam, went around, killed people, and when they arrested him, he told everyone that a dog told him to do it. And I thought this was interesting.
He was part of a satanic group,
True,
though.
but just remember, a dog told him to do it. Now, if you want to take this theory way out to its end, then you should abolish all the dogs on this planet. Then you have the sick guy in Chicago. Then you had William Gacy in Chicago, that sick son of a bitch who molested and killed 30 boys. And when they talked to him, he said he listened to classical music. Now, do you then say you blame classical music? The whole point here is that rock and roll is consistently a scapegoat, and to try to figure out a way to channel some sort of censorship is dangerous, because who begins to decide who makes that decision, Jennifer? Is it you? Who is it, Jennifer? I'll tell you
Did
something.
you
My
hear what I
parents were
said?
good people. They brought
Mine
me
too.
up to know right and wrong, like your parents did, okay? All right? I'm not a thug. I'm a good person, man. These people are decent people, and my parents brought me up with a hell of a lot of respect. And if I grow up to be half the man my father is, I will consider myself a success.
I grew up with heavy metal music. I attended my first Alice Cooper concert at the age of 9. So I'm not going to stand up here and tell everyone that going to see Alice Cooper or Twisted Sister on stage is going to make you into an antisocial being. I'm saying that people need to be tuned in, and I don't really buy into the fact that, you know, what this man says, that there's no drug and alcohol abuse going on at concerts. I didn't say there wasn't. I just said there's no violence, that there's no sadism. There are things.
I never said there wasn't.
I'll give you an example of some parental concern.
Where were you in the days of Elton John, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds? Were you folks out there fighting that stuff? Where were you in the days of Shirley Ellis? All right, do the nitty gritty, which was an expression, which was a ghetto expression describing a
I'm not
a
saying that we need
anatomy.
to throw this stuff out. I'm simply saying that we need to let people know it's there. We need to bring it out into the open. We're finding that most of the people who are listening to the music that is the most violent and the most sadistic and the most sexual are young kids, and parents have no idea. I'm not talking about a 16-year-old. I'm talking about kids who are 12 and 13-year-olds. Dee Snider, as a matter of fact, has noted in interviews in heavy metal fan magazines that his audience is getting younger and younger and younger, and you would substantiate that, wouldn't
Morton,
you?
do you know what's interesting? Because of the kind of fear and paranoia that's thrown around by the PMRC, it leads to some kind of legislation I'd like to give you a little background on. There's a city called San Antonio. It's in Texas. And what happened was they passed an anti-rock ordinance, which could very well be the architect of something that could happen here one day. So it's interesting that you listen to this. This law that was passed was designed to theoretically keep bands out of the marketplace. And what the law stated was, and this is what they thought they were going to do, the law, to paraphrase the law, was that if you performed sex with animals, performed sex with dead people, or performed sex with minors on stage, you wouldn't be allowed in this town. Now,
I think that's pretty damn reasonable.
Now,
I think that's reasonable.
Now,
That is totally incorrect.
Now, what happened
that
was,
is not what it said.
Let me just finish this, okay?
But that
what
is
happened
not
was,
even what
when
it
they
said.
when they passed the anti-rock ordinance, Twisted Sister was the first.
It's not an anti-rock ordinance, that's an anti-sick ordinance.
Definitely. And Morton, exactly. And think about the mentality that had to be drummed into these people for them to consider that this is what was going to keep out rock and roll. So what happened was, the promoter told them Twisted Sister was coming in. Well, they said, well, obviously Twisted Sister must fit into this parameter, so like, this law will keep them out. And he said, I got news for you. Twisted Sister doesn't fit in this parameter. They said, well, if you bring them in and they do these things, we're going to fine you. Well, what happened was, we performed in front of 17,000 people, and 12 members of a PTA group and 12 members of a Christian organization came down to monitor our show. And this is the results of that performance, okay? The results were, first of all, we came on stage, we played 3 songs, and then we made a speech to the kids, and we told them that they have to watch out who makes laws controlling what they want to listen to. At the end of the show, the chief of police walked in to the dressing room and thanked us for saying what we said and keeping things straight, because he has been the chief of police and had 17 years full of rock and roll concerts. He's never seen the crap that they try to throw down people's throats, and the PTA got together.
Hear Jennifer rebut
just one thing.
The actual ordinance states that, not that they'll keep these bands out of town, but if they come to town and if they say that their show does contain those elements, then they are required to print on the ticket that children 14 and under are not allowed to attend.
No, I'm sorry, you're wrong.
That is the ordinance.
I'm sorry, the promoter
paper.
told me himself that he was told that if the act comes into town, he books it, he has to be, he will pay a fine.
All right, let me go to our loudmouth here. We've got Cat, all right? Thanks, Cat. Wait a second. Let us talk here for a second.
Shut up.
I've turned on MTV a number of times, and I really only see 2 kinds of women on MTV: young blondes, and virginal boots. All right.
Let's see your boots, Mort. Red socks.
I'm not a young blonde, baby.
Yeah, babe.
And I'm not a virgin, but neither are you, either one.
Yeah, but you know what you are.
Usually they have.
Junior, I hate to tell you, you're chain smoking in my face, and you're going to get cancer. And please, don't get. I'll tell you something, Mort. Everybody. Art, this shows your shut up. This total shows your total insecurity of females and everything because you have to be sucking on a cigarette. It's amazing to me. If you don't have your own to suck on.
Come back here.
Hey, come back here. Hey, I had to say something. Come back here and suck my
And I'll guarantee you she has one. This, all right? This is the kind of crap. This is the kind of crap that I can understand this lady is fighting against. Get her ass out of here. We'll be back in a minute.
February, when we salute three great American leaders, Lincoln, Washington, and Crazy Eddie. Crazy Eddie, his sale prices are insane.
I could see the flames screaming, people shouting. They're going to work hard, graduate, and become viable and productive citizens, or they're going to get the hell out of that school.
The story of this tragedy at Howard Beach is finally written.
I was homeless, not insane. I'm a human being. I have rights, and they were all violated.
Don't let anyone tell you what they said. Hear them say it. News 88, WCBS Radio, News 88.
You try to relax, but you can feel its presence. It's there waiting for you. Yes, you've created an unreal entity of awesome power. All because you're putting off doing your taxes till the last minute. The tax laws have changed, and tax forms are different. Don't let it haunt you. File now, file accurately, and make your taxes less taxing.
Now playing at a theater near you. Check newspapers for showtimes.
Good morning, Vietnam!
I couldn't stop laughing.
Easy, girl. Time magazine proclaims best military comedy since MASH. The New York Times says one man's tour de force.
I want to see it again and again.
Thank you. The Today Show calls it touching and wildly funny, and Siskel and Ebert give it 2 enthusiastic thumbs up.
One of the best pictures of the year.
Yeah. Good Morning Vietnam. Rated R.
What's the #1 selling, great tasting, non-alcoholic brew in America? Kingsbury.
Look what Levitt's got you for my birthday. A showroom full of outstanding bargains, drastically reduced for Washington's birthday sale. Look, would I lie to you?
Meineke knows just how you feel. You want a quality muffler that doesn't cost a lot.
Hey, you big ape! I'm not going to pay a lot for this muffler.
Relax. Meineke's quality Everlast mufflers are priced from just $18.93 to $26.95 installed.
Oh, I'm not going to pay a lot and still get quality.
Bob Nelson again for Grand Prix Jeep Eagle of Hicksville.
4 good reasons to buy from Grand Prix Jeep Eagle. Price and service. I could have been somebody. I could have been a container.
You know, I own one of these, really.
Grand Prix Beep Jeep. Grand Prix Jeep Eagle of Hicksville. It's Grand Prix.
Now that we've fumigated the studio and we're back again, I wonder if you'd do me a favor. Play some of that extremely talented young lady's music for me, will you please? That's it.
Oh, how'd you narrow?
God, that's heaven. That's heaven, huh? Satan. Jennifer, tell me about PMRC's campaign to print lyrics on the outside of record albums, all right? I mean, how could you decipher that lyric in the first place?
Well, the artist writes the lyrics, and it would be the artist and the record company that would have them printed on the outside. That is one of two options. They can either use the generic warning label or print the lyrics.
Howard, respond.
The PMRC, unfortunately, Jennifer, the PMRC is being very phony about what it's really all about. Your primary campaign is not a campaign to label records. Your primary campaign is a campaign of the kind of misinformation and disinformation that led the people in San Antonio to believe that any group that goes up on stage playing a rock and roll is sleeping with children on stage or is talking about sleeping with dead people or animals. The fact is, Jennifer, wait a minute, the fact is, now I'm going to tell you, you had a symposium in the fall that gave a very clear indication of what the PMRC was really all about. You had the Surgeon General of the United States there, which gave it a great weight of authority. You also had the endorsement of the American Academy of Pediatricians. You had the endorsement of the National Association for Mental Health. What did you have in that symposium? Who did you trot out? You trotted out some phony scientists from the Pacific Northwest who claim to have spurious research that shows that rock and roll rhythms cause suicide. You had somebody who said that rock and roll is responsible for cattle mutilations.
Were you there, Howard?
You had now this is according to the story in the Village Voice. Now,
Okay,
Jennifer,
well, do you think the Village Voice?
According to the Village Voice.
I'd be happy, Howard, to send you a tape of the event.
I would love to see it.
We had the support of the American Academy of Pediatricians. These are mental health people that are concerned about the levels of violence directed at children in the media. There have been over 1,000 studies done about entertainment violence in this nation. 75% of them indicate that there are harmful or negative effects on children. This is what we discussed at this
But Jennifer, there is so little violence in rock and roll that it's astonishing. There isn't violence in most rock and roll. You're putting together a seminar that said that there's lots of violence in rock and roll is baloney. It's horse pucky.
Well, let me go to, let's get Debbie Linder in here to join us, all right? She's president of the New Jersey Federation for Drug-Free Communities. You've heard the conversation tonight, Debbie. Anything to add? And when you talk about drug-free communities, how does this enter into a drug-free community?
Well, I work with families whose children are in a lot of trouble with drugs and alcohol, suicide, and so forth. I've worked very closely with these parents. I have been privy to diaries that young people who are into the drug scene have written, and I want you to know that all throughout the diary are references to heavy metal, songs, and so forth. And my question here is, I have no problem with heavy metal or rock and roll that gives out a positive, healthy message. Why do we have to write lyrics?
Healthy in whose eyes?
I would hope in everybody's eyes. I don't think it's healthy to promote and glamorize the use of drugs and alcohol, especially when you know your audience is the adolescent audience. Okay. These are young people who are trying to find their identity. They gravitate to music, which is natural and fine. But what is the message that they're getting from some, not all? I am not condemning heavy metal or rock and roll as a whole. I am condemning those lyrics which promote drug and alcohol use that make it very glamorous. These kids really get excited about this stuff.
Let's listen for a second. Tell me if this fits into the category. Ozzy Osbourne, I think it's called Suicide Solution.
Just get stuff. Do I think it?
Listen.
Why you find the whiskey's quicker? Suicide is slow as liquor. Take a bath and drown your sorrow. Then it floods away tomorrow.
Is that a negative message to you?
Do you know? And this is, you talk about parents not being able to intervene. Do you know, I cannot understand the lyrics to that song. How can we as parents intervene if we can't really understand the music?
Well, how do the kids
understand?
Can I
give you a little bit of information about this song?
Yeah.
The key line is, about drowning your sorrows, because this is an anti-alcohol song. Ozzy Osbourne is a man who's had a serious drug and alcohol problem, and he is trying to say that alcohol is no solution. It's a suicide solution. Now, let me tell you something else. The PMRC and some of the people who are allied with the PMRC have been very active in saying that rock music causes suicide. Well, all social psychology studies, but Tipper Gore has. In fact, she's quoted in the Washington Post. No, she's quoted in the Washington Post this last weekend as saying exactly that. She didn't say it could have been a factor. She said that it's been associated with numerous suicides. She's been very explicit. And the same statement was made in Susan Baker's testimony at the hearing that you guys put together in Washington 2 years ago. Now, wait, let me finish. The point is
have been made by the media, not by the PMRC.
The point is that suicide increases every time there's a headline about suicide. The groups that are opposed to rock and roll have said suicide solution is about suicide and have gotten that in headlines all over the country. Kids who don't understand those lyrics any better than you do don't get Ozzy Osbourne's message thanks to people like the PMRC. They don't get the anti-drug message. They don't get the anti-alcohol message. What they get is suicide.
The lyrics so that everybody will get the right message.
Why do a group of Washington wives have the record company shaking in their high-heel boots? Stand by. We'll find out.
It's three-ring value time at your New York, New Jersey Buick dealers, so I dressed for the occasion. In Ring 1, save up to $1,200 on Buicks with value option packages. In Ring 2, get up to $1,000 cash back from Buick. In Ring 3, test drive the new Buick and get 2 passes to Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus, opening at Meadowlands Arena March 8th, Nassau Coliseum March 15th, and Madison Square Garden March 23rd. But hurry before the circus passes and Buicks disappear. Not me, the Buicks.
Fellow Americans, we're all celebrating Crazy Eddie's President's Birthday Week sales extravaganza. Get up to 60% in savings on anything and everything in home entertainment. Get an Emerson 4-head VCR with HQ and wireless remote, $199 after rebate. Get an ultrasonic humidifier, $38. Get a Sharp 19-inch Linatron color TV, $188. Save up to 60% without even crossing the Delaware. Crazy Eddie's President's Birthday Week sale prices are patriotically insane.
Visions of tomorrow, today, at Futurama Interiors. See, touch, feel. The latest designs in furniture now at Futurama. Choose from hundreds of selections of quality furniture, like this beautiful imported black lacquer bedroom set, or this luxurious, genuine Italian leather living room, and this magnificent handcrafted dining room set. For luxury and affordability, come to one of Futurama's giant showrooms in Flushing, Astoria, and Ridgewood, and get the furniture for your future today. Futurama Interiors by Par.
ID. It's I-ID, U-ID, Y-ID. It's my ID. It's dance.
ID is the latest steps.
I got a step for you that you won't forget ever. Woo!
It's in the room tonight.
Come on, y'all.
ID is tomorrow's stars.
I let you into my secrets.
ID is today's kids.
Well, to me, popular means something that's not fake, something that you bring up inside of you, something that's natural.
If you're fake, you're not cool.
You also have to have a lot of energy and look like you want to be friends with people.
Dr. Joy Brown gets the teens talking. Tricia Ronayne keeps the record spinning. And Hinton Battle makes the dance floor come alive.
The thought for the day. If anybody asks you to dance,
just say yes. ID, Saturday at noon on Channel 9.
From Touchstone Pictures, it's official. Everyone's raving about Good Morning Vietnam!
I couldn't stop laughing.
Easy, girl. Time magazine proclaims best military comedy since MASH. The New York Times says one man's tour de force. I want to see it again and again. Thank you. The Today Show calls it touching and wildly funny, and Siskel and Ebert give it 2 enthusiastic thumbs up.
one of the best pictures of the year.
Yeah! Good Morning Vietnam. Rated R.
Now playing at a theater near you. Check newspapers for showtimes.
Let's come back to Howard Bloom for a minute. Howard, the record industry and PMRC both agree record sales have not been affected by the warning labels in any way, shape, or form. Why then are you so afraid of these little stickers?
Well, it's not just the stickers. First of all, let's get to the stickers. Let's pretend that the stickers are all the PMRC is all about, which is false. But we'll pretend that for a second. You put a sticker on an album that says that it has objectionable material. Most of the records sold in the United States, 80%, are sold in mall locations. You know, those nice mall stores you go shopping on the weekends? Well, the fact is, the mall owners have contracts, leases, with the mall owners. The store owners have contracts that say that if they display or sell objectionable material, they are bounced. That's the end of their lease. The end of their lease is the end of their business. How many records do you think they're going to accept?
So they'd rather sell as long as no one knows about it.
So are they selling it? Is it a subterfuge, the way they're selling it then?
No, because frankly, the Ozzy Osbourne song we were just talking about, the lyrics are in the album. Somebody really wants to know what's in it, it's in it. Now, frankly, I'm in favor of seeing lyrics on album jackets. You mean to tell me that the American public would rather buy their products blindly? They'd rather buy items so long as they didn't know what was in it before they got it? Your agreement with the record industry, your current agreement, which is not what I object to about the PMRC, says that either the record companies will put the lyrics on the jacket or they will put a label on the jacket. But again, the real problem here is the PMRC's primary activity has nothing to do with this labeling agreement. For example,
primary activity is working with parents, teaching them how to communicate better with their children.
Not true.
Telling them, I've got right here a book.
Your booklet is wonderful, but that's not your major activity.
That we send out to parents. We ask parents not to throw it away. I think parents are better off if they sit down with their children, discuss this material, and give them insight into it, rather than saying this is no good, because that's going to make kids want it even more.
Your booklet is wonderful. The point you just made is wonderful. The fact is there are a couple of other things in there. First of all, there is a statement about rock and roll. It says that rock and roll is almost always involved with sexual perversion, sexual promiscuity, substance abuse. It's right there on roughly page 3. The second problem is that Tipper, in her book, now I've got it, I've got my copy too.
Go ahead, keep talking. Let's take a look. Let's hope. Let's hope.
Okay, 5 major themes.
5 major themes that rock music returns to again and again. Rebellion, substance abuse, sexual promiscuity and perversion, violence, and the occult. It does say it in there.
We're not saying that this is all rock music. I will say right now that the majority of rock music is good, positive messages.
Then why doesn't it say there that the majority of rock music is good?
It does say that in the introduction, but the introduction looks like something that was pasted on after the real essence of the message was written in there. Now, the second problem is, Jennifer...
Negative messages in music do not represent a majority of today's popular music.
Yes, I thought that the introduction was admirable.
JJ, let JJ jump in here a second.
Finish up what happened in San Antonio, because it had a direct bearing. Because it had a direct bearing. It had a direct bearing. It has direct bearing upon the overreactionary goals of the PMRC, and that was this. Following our show there, these two organizations met at the local Denny's by the Alamo, and to think that the First Amendment was being mulled over at the local Denny's of the Alamo is a kind of scary thought. But what happened was, that day, the head of the PTA called up the promoter and said, you know what? We really we got overblown. What we saw that last night was a great show. People had an amazing time. Yeah, okay, we didn't like certain things. We didn't like cursing, this, that, and the other thing, but we were led down the garden path. It was the wrong thing. We were hyped in a negative way by organizations such as this. And this is what is so sad about it, because these people don't come to the shows and they don't see the truth. And I'm telling you, I'll say it again, I'll say it over and over and over again. You want to make rock and roll a scapegoat for parents, unfortunately, who have problems with their kids? I'll tell you something, don't blame rock and roll music.
Let me go to Anne-Marie Holska. Let me go to Anne-Marie Holska, all right? Anne-Marie is with the Parents Music Resource. Zip it!
Come on,
She's with the Parents Music Resource Center. You're an advocate of that group. You've been a PTA member for 15 years. You've got 3 children of your own. 4 children of your own.
2 are here
God,
tonight.
You've been happy since I last saw you.
4 girls.
All right, but let me ask you something. You music your children buy, have you always paid attention to the music your children bought, and were you involved in your children's lives so you knew what they were doing?
I'm involved in my children's lives since the day they were born.
Okay.
Number 1. Number 2, I sought Parents Music Resource Center. I call them. They did not call me.
Okay.
They have not influenced me. Through them, the material I have received, I talk to my children about the music. The other day, we were really talking. They didn't realize we were.
What kind of music
okay.
were they listening to before you started talking, before you got involved with PMRC?
Well, Motley Crue, okay? But, hey,
all right.
I enjoyed one of their songs we were listening to the other day.
All right.
What are you laughing? Come on, give me a chance now.
That's okay, I love it.
Okay? I'm on my way home. Beautiful song. Beautiful.
Home Sweet Home.
Okay, Home Sweet Home. I'm glad.
No, it's okay, because I listen. I like AC/DC,
No, I'm talking
Metallica,
now,
and Sinatra,
please.
so I can understand.
Now, let me get back to PMRC, how they have helped parents like myself on Staten Island, and Mr. Bloom has a hang-up with PMRC, and he's not looking at the parents' point of view. And that's what's getting me. They say censorship. We're not looking for censorship. Totally no. It's awareness. Let us parents be aware what is out there. I wish I knew
Why aren't you
then.
aware and listening to the music your kids listen to on radio?
I do listen to. I didn't know the.
Then you're
filthy-
aware you don't need an album with the lyric on it, do
They
you?
gave me songs that probably my kids weren't even listening to. They have the albums. The ones that are the filth. I call filth. I
And
cannot
there
even
is
say
filth
it on
out
the
there.
air.
That's all right.
You
We know that.
They're giving you the songs that you never would have found and your kids never would have found without
No,
their
they
help.
probably found. Maybe they don't want to tell me.
All right. Tell you what we're going to do when we come back. More metalheads and some hardcore PTA moms. Stand back.
From Touchstone Pictures, a ruthless killer. A beautiful hostage.
Have to get me out of these mountains.
Two men tracking them. One for love, one for revenge.
This man is mine, you understand?
Sidney Poitier, Tom Berenger. Two men doing whatever it takes
You shoot her, you're stabbed half a second later.
to get their man.
Get down!
Shoot to Kill, rated R.
Now playing at a theater near you. Check newspapers for showtimes.
The exciting adventure continues. Trainer Horn's multi-million-dollar President's Birthday Sale. And what a celebration. You'll save and save and save some more on famous name color TVs, VCRs, stereos, and home appliances. Every price on every item guaranteed lowest or your money back. Get a 19-inch Zenith color TV, just $197. An Emerson remote cable-ready VCR, $199. A Whirlpool 18-cubic-foot refrigerator, $386. Remember that Trainer's gonna save you during his President's Birthday Sale. Now at all New York, New Jersey superstores.
All the ballots have been counted, and Crazy Eddie's voted you the winner of savings up to 60% during Crazy Eddie's President's Birthday Week Sales Extravaganza. Save up to 60% on all the best brands of TVs, VCRs, stereo systems, microwave ovens, portables. Anything and everything in home entertainment's on sale now during Crazy Eddie's President's Week Sales Extravaganza. Save up to 60% without even crossing the Delaware. Crazy Eddie's President's Birthday Week sale prices are patriotically insane.
I have the worst cold I ever had in my whole life. I sneeze so much I think my nose is broke. I cough so loud I woke up rotting.
For all these symptoms, there's Pediacare. Unlike medicines adults can take, Pediacare is made especially for a child's cold, or a child's cold with a cough. And it's measured precisely for your child's age and weight.
My cold went bye-bye. I finally stopped sneezing.
A child's cold needs special care. Pediacare.
When I had that scare with the pain in my chest, I went to see a cardiologist. And when I had that pinched nerve, I saw a physical therapist every week. But an eye doctor? No. No, I never went to see an eye doctor. Glaucoma is one of those things that just sneaks up on you. I never knew there was anything wrong.
Have your eyes examined regularly, because no one can save your sight but you.
All right. I want to go to our loudmouths in the studio audience. I want to talk. Let me talk first to a gentleman that a lot of you probably know. Let me introduce him to you, Randy Michelson, lead singer for Damien. Randy, you've listened to the conversation. What has heavy metal music meant to you, pal?
I think literally it saved my life.
How?
Because...
Shut up, let's listen to him. ahead.
Gave me the ability to dream, and if I hadn't found music, and heavy metal happens to be the music I like, I would probably be just what the PMRC connotates that we, you know, into
Are you on drugs?
No. No, wait. You want to hear something? Damien is playing a Say No to Drugs concert right in our home city, Toledo, Ohio. So don't tell me I'm drug-free.
How about your music? Do you get it? Do you get into the glorification of bestiality or having sex with 3-year-old kids or any of that kind of garbage?
Absolutely not. No.
Do you sing full-time? Do you work full-time? Do you play full-time? What do you do?
Work part-time and sing part-time.
So you hold another job, all right? Let's hear some of his music, all right?
Wait.
Let's hear some of his music for a second. Go ahead.
Wait for me, we'll crash it down on the human plane. Spirits of madness, seek a holy flame. Shake out, dance with my face and come. Smashing through the lungs of hell, running out the sun. Here they come. Possession!
I got news for you. I got news for you. That's just good old rock and roll music. What's wrong with that?
There is absolutely nothing wrong with that.
Good. All right.
I'm Anne-Marie Holsker's daughter, PTA member, 15 years, whatever you want to call it. My mother has been there for me, but she hasn't held me by the hand going to the music store and saying, Denise, this is what you can buy, and Denise, this is what you can buy. She hasn't done that. I saw Twisted Sister, okay, at Radio City Music Hall about 3 years ago. But I was 17.
Did you go out and buy their stuff?
No, I never bought an album. My sister actually did, though.
Okay.
Okay? but wait.
Did your mama take it away from her?
No, actually I did one day because she was 10. Okay? And their concert that I saw, I thought, hey, you know, it was rock and roll. A friend of mine liked it, and I went with her. Okay? But I saw young kids in that audience, and they were doing, and the language that they were using, and the songs that some of they were, sometimes
yeah,
they were
but you see, the thing, you say you saw young kids. Where the hell were the old parents who were supposed to be taking care of the old kids? Where were they? Why didn't they make sure that those kids didn't go to that concert?
His parents were
My
at home
kid
because
was
they
going
had
to a
no
concert
idea what
like
was
that
going
that had
on.
anything to do with Satanism, anything to do with perverted sex, anything to do with drugs. I'm a tough enough parent. My kid get a kick in the ass and not go.
Who do not give a damn what their kid is doing, and they turn around and they see all this stuff, and all this stuff is put right in their face, and their parents are home. Who knows what? They don't care. Maybe they're not aware. Maybe they're working parents. Maybe they just don't.
Can I just say something here?
Yeah,
Wait, I got one
quickly
thing
now.
to
We're going to
say
take a break.
here, really. Do you want to know what's wrong with the stickers on the album? I'll tell you. The next step leads to censorship. Yeah. And heavy metal, wait a minute. And heavy metal is every kid's right to rock. And if you censor it,
let's take a break. We'll come right back. We'll come right back. I said take a break.
Tired of sitting home and watching the same old boring television shows? Television is alive and well at Channel 9. So be part of our studio audience if you dare. For tickets, write to Tickets for Morton Downey Jr. Show, 9 Broadcast Plaza, Secaucus, New Jersey, 07094. Please include your area code and phone number, and we'll send you tickets for the next available show. Sorry, only 6 tickets per request.
Who's got it better than us? Fortune Off.
It's Fortune Off's Furniture and Rug Sale. Save up to 50% off on our collection of dining sets, wardrobes, wall units, and entertainment centers. Save up to 50% off on all our wool Chinese rugs, 9x12 starting at $11.99. And if you buy furniture or rugs now through February 27th, you won't be billed until July 1988 at Fortune Off, Westbury and Wayne.
Fortune Off. Who's got it better than us?
Mr. Clam, you have the floor. Now look here, you guys. I call this meeting with calamari, scungili, mussels, and Miss Shrimp because I know that all of you are worried since Lenny's Clam Bar and Restaurant is doing such a big job with delicious pasta dishes and tempting Italian specialties. Now you monks can stop worrying, see? Last reports show that we seafood specialties are still going strong. The customers love us all, and so will you. Have a complimentary glass of wine on the house at the Lenny's Clam Bar and Restaurant nearest you, see?
To celebrate my birthday this year, 4 great Autoland locations join together looking to cut their inventory in half. 50% off the manufacturer's suggested retail price on every option and on every new car, truck, and conversion van. Not just a few. Every Dodge, Ford, Chevrolet, Toyota, Chrysler, Plymouth, Lincoln, Mercury, Mazda, Subaru, Mercedes, Saab, Yugo, and Shelby. 5,000 vehicles in all. 50% off the MSRP on every option.
Plus, get $400 to $2,500 factory cash back on select models.
Hot, high, February, movies, meltdown, stars, 9, hot, Saturday, heatwave, February, movies, Sunday, 9, weekend, stars, hot, meltdown, February, hot, 9, meltdown, hot, February, movies, 9, weekend, movies.
Channel 9's February movies, Meltdown, the February Freeze.
After 25 years of experimenting, marriage is back. The marriage of the 80s combines the best of the old with the new. It unites equals, since work is no longer mandated by tradition, but divided according to talent, inclination, and need. Marriage again is unconditional and generous. Each partner is special, unique. Marriage is again permanent and romantic, and that's something to celebrate.
Let's go quickly to our audience. Quick comment.
All right, I think the members of Damien are a little too optimistic. The record stickers have already led to censorship. There are music distributors, Peaches Sound Warehouse in Dallas. There's a few other music distributors that refuse to carry any records that are labeled at all. In effect, these records never get to the major stores. They are censored just by the labels being put on them.
JJ?
Okay. Just, please just remember, there's a cable show called Giant Lives Dangerously. We talk about subjects like this. It happens to be a hot new cable show in the New York area. Please watch it. And if the PMRC spends half of its time trying to eradicate the drug problem in this country rather than stuff on the only reason we'd be better off.
Jennifer.
I think
Let Jennifer have her closing statement.
if artists don't feel comfortable with warning labels, let them use printed lyrics. I think parents need to be aware. They need to know that their child is going to witness 18,000 murders on television before they reach high school. They need information. They need accurate information so that they can make the decisions in the home.
Quickly, you got 10 seconds.
The only reason Howard's doing this is because he just wants to have money in his pocket. That's the only reason. He's trying to get these guys to play there.
We've had some good arguments from both sides. I think the most important thing is that the parents, all right, that the parents get involved. Let me read this to you, all right? Surgeon's warning. Smoking causes lung cancer, heart disease, emphysema, and may complicate pregnancy. Labels, they suck.